All right, everybody, we got a really great case to you, coming to you from a company called Benks. Now, I've worked with them before on the 16 Pro Maxes, and this one is their armor case. Now, it's made out of Kevlar, so it's very thin, but yet very durable. So if you're looking for an iPhone case that's also minimalistic, thin, but yet will still protect your phone, this is definitely gonna be a case for you to look at. And then before we get into unboxing this case, if you guys can go ahead and hit that like button down below, it greatly helps this video reach more people like yourselves, and subscribe as we are on our way to the goal of 1,500 subscribers by the end of the year. I think we're at like 1,370 right now as of filming this, so any and all help is greatly appreciated. So thank you so much to Benks also for sending over these cases. They also did send over a really nice MagSafe ring, so we're gonna do our MagSafe testing with this as well. So thank you guys so much. Let's get into the unboxing. All right, so a really nice case. You can kind of see that it is two parts. On the back, you do get a little bit of information about the case itself. You know, MagSafe compatible, smooth to the touch, lens protection, and then elegant design, and then a little bit more about the Kevlar there. Nothing really on the sides. This is their armor case, so if you're looking for it, they do have a couple of different cases, so you can pick which one is your favorite and which one's gonna work best for you. So they have a really nice lineup. And then sliding that out, that just kind of comes out of the box. We can go ahead and throw that out there. And then here is the case itself. You can kind of see that nice Kevlar texture there. Let's go ahead and pop the case out right here. Move that to the side. Don't really get anything else on the inside, just a nice little place for the case to stay nice and snug. But then here's first impressions of the case. We'll go ahead and take that off. Really nice and thin. You can see that right there. You can also see that the MagSafe is there as well. And then a pretty nice camera protection. It does almost feel like this is metal in there, or aluminum or some sort. It's kind of cold to the touch. So a metal protection right there. And then looking at the sides, we do have fully integrated buttons, a camera control button, fully integrated buttons right here, and a really nice kind of orange speck there for the action button. That's a really nice touch, so you can easily find that. And then looking at the bottom, you do get pinhole cutouts for the speakers. Would have preferred full cutouts, but that's all right. And then a pretty generous USB-C port right there. Looking at the insides of the case, you can kind of see you got some grooves. And then in the corners right here, you can see that you do have, you know, that full military grade drop protection. So your case is gonna, or your phone is gonna be very well protected while in this case, and that is on all four corners, and then some nice protection on the sides. Not to mention that this thing is made out of Kevlar, so it is very resistant to drops and things like that. So you're gonna be protected all the way around on your new iPhone 17. Then just doing a little bit of testing for the pull. We'll do it while it's on, but you know, decent pulling right there, pulling on the sides there. Not too bad on the top. Go ahead and twist that. Pretty good twist, pretty stiff there. So really not too bad. This seems like a really solid case with no branding whatsoever, which is also nice if you're into cases without branding. All right, so now let's go ahead and get this case onto the phone and really test this thing out. Fits nice and snug right there. You can see that. Let's go ahead and turn it all the way around. Really nice and snug fit. Very minimal. The grip on this case is really fantastic. You would think like kind of the Kevlar might be a little slippery, but this almost has a rubbery texture to it. On the sides are rubber as well. So really good feeling phone case right off the bat. And I kind of love this contrast of the Kevlar with the orange of the iPhone. All right, and then taking a look at the outsides of the case, you do get some pretty nice lip protection all the way around. I wouldn't say it's the highest lip protection, and if you do have a screen protector, that is going to take a little bit away from what is a bit shallower. But if you do drop your phone on its front like that, it is going to be fully protected, which is good. But the screen protector might take a hit or two, just being that it is a little bit of thinner siding. Let's go ahead and do that pull test. Pretty big pulling on the left side there. Decent pulling over by the power button. A little bit of pulling by the camera button, not so much on the bottom left, and on the top and bottom, a pretty good amount of pulling all the way around the case. I definitely wouldn't recommend doing that, as you might stretch this and then it's not going to fit necessarily 100% properly. But I mean, it does fit nice and snug. It does feel really good. I wouldn't worry about, you know, your phone falling out of this case or anything like that, but just the longevity of it. Maybe don't give it so many tugs and pulls. Flipping it over to the backside, you can see that the camera plateau is fully open with just the aluminum ring around the outside of the phone itself. But turning it to the side, you do get some pretty good and generous protection over those lenses, so you're not going to need to worry about that. But if you are somebody who wants to protect, that camera plateau, you can go ahead and get a third-party protection over that, whether that's a film or just like a casing that goes over that, but that's your preference. I don't worry about that too much. Let's go ahead and test out the buttons then. Really nice and clicky on the left side. Nice and clicky there. And then let's go ahead and get into the camera control button while we're here. Really, really nice and responsive. It is almost like raised a little bit. So that's actually kind of nice. And it actually is raised, and it is super responsive. So if you're looking for a really nice camera button that's responsive, that isn't like loose or anything like that, like some of the other camera buttons that I've tested, this is definitely a case for you, absolutely utilizing that camera control button and doing it well. So kudos to Benks for that. And then looking at the bottom of the case here, you do get those pinhole cutouts, and you can see that they are aligned. Again, would necessarily like to see the full cutout, but then you do get a pretty generous USB-C port, so that's going to be able to handle any of your USB-C cords with decent size heads on there for charging. And then just going over the actual feel of the case, I know I kind of said this earlier, but the back of this Kevlar part is actually quite grippy, and it's pretty much like the same texture as the sides here. I'm actually a pretty big fan of this, and just the feel of it and the look of it is actually fantastic too. So very nice from Benks getting this to be not super slick, so you can have confidence while holding this and that you're not going to like drop it, even though if you do, you are going to get really nice protection on that. And now let's go ahead and open up their MagSafe ring so we can go ahead and test the MagSafe strength of this case. Very nice of them to send over this as well. Just kind of pull the bottom out, and then there it is. And just kind of snaps out of place there. So it is very thin and very minimal. I can show you that right there. And then just kind of looking at it, you can see a little bit about it as well. You can take it off. So you do get a little finger loop right there. Snap that right onto the case. Let's do a little bounce test. Doesn't have the loudest and hardest snap, but it is fairly strong. It doesn't really sound like it's snapping to the case that hard, but it is actually on there pretty darn well. So, as you can see, this part does come out and it magnets right back to itself, so you can get a nice finger loop if you're walking or just, doing anything like that. And then you do get a really nice stand right there, so you can put this really at any angle that you're looking at, and it is quite strong. I accidentally turned my flashlight on there. So being able to move it 360 and being able to have it at any single angle you want is really nice. And then obviously it's just MagSafe right on there and is really kind of super thin on there. I don't think it actually goes over the camera plateau, so it's not adding anything to the actual case itself, which is really nice. All right, so the Benks Armor made out of Kevlar with the optional MagSafe ring. What am I going to give this case? I'm definitely going to give it a 4 on the happiness scale. I think the fit on the outsides is just a little bit of loose, and that pulling does kind of concern me. Not that your phone is actually going to fall out of the case, but just that it will start to pull over time and just get looser and looser, and then junk is going to get into the sides of your phone. And then I would have really liked to see the full cutouts for the speakers there. The buttons are absolutely fantastic, and the camera button itself is really good. And then the look and feel of it is awesome as well. So definitely 10 out of 10s there. Just my two little concerns with the pulling and the speaker grills. I'm gonna give that a 4 on that. And if you do want to go ahead and pick this case up, I'll have some links down below, both to the website and to Amazon. Both those do help out the channel, so if you do want to pick this up, greatly appreciate it. It does retail for $49.99, and then right now on Amazon, there's a sale for $39.99, so you can always get it at least a little bit cheaper than that. And then the MagSafe ring does come separately on that, so you'll have to pick that up yourselves. I'll have any discount codes on the screen or down below as well. If I have anything for you guys, I greatly appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.